Hi, I'm Skylar.
And I'm Max.
During quarantine, we decided to start watching Bob's Burgers to see what it was all about.
It didn't take long for us to become completely obsessed with the show.
And one of the things we loved the most about the show were the brilliant end credits.
Which is why we created this podcast.
Each week, we'll go episode by episode to talk about the elaborate end credit sequences.
We're excited to have you join us on the very first credit score spin-off, Bob's Credits.
We'll make sure the Bob's Burgers end credits get the credit they're due.
Hello! Welcome, everybody, to the very first episode of Bob's Credits. It's a credit score podcast spin-off podcast about Skylar.
The ending credits of Bob's Burgers.
Exactly.
Because as much as we love the episodes, the credits are like little gems at the end. It's like a little after dessert the opposite of an amuse-bouche.
What is the opposite of an amuse-bouche? Port?
In France, they do cheese.
Okay.
Gene be down with that.
Yeah. So it's the cheese of the episode. I like that.
It's the cheese of the episode.
Yeah, Gene
I love
would support that.
Yeah.
For those of you who've come here from Credit Score, you know who I am. If you aren't from Credit Score and you just found this Bob's Burgers podcast, welcome. I'm Max Miller, and sitting right across from me is
Skylar Harrison.
And we are in love.
Still, after quarantine?
Yeah. What do you think? Like medium love at this point?
No, I want to say that Bob's Burgers has become the glue of our love.
In this relationship.
Yeah, but specifically during quarantine.
Sure.
So maybe we're even more in love than when we started.
Oh, because of Bob's. Oh, Linda would be she'd be so happy and proud of us for that. Who's sitting next to you? That's important as well.
This is my baby B, baby Biscuit.
Biscuit, our pup, who will be making numerous appearances on this podcast, as well as he's the star over at Credit Score.
Yes, but he'll be the star here because normally when you and Gary are recording, I'm dog wrangling.
Yes.
But we no longer have a dog wrangler.
Yes. So now, but he's calm when we're both in the same room. As long as he can be with the two of us, he's okay.
Right. He has that Tina separation anxiety.
Yeah, he starts that little like, There's going to be a lot of really bad Bob's impression attempts on this podcast.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know Credit Score is a podcast where me and my co-host Gary go through entertaining opening and end credit sequences from movies and TV shows. We're going to do the Bob's opening credits, but like Skylar said, because these end credit sequences are different pretty much every single episode, we're doing this little spin-off podcast.
Yeah, because I feel like, and to preface this, we started Bob's maybe in March, right at the beginning of quarantine. And every episode, we were trying to figure out which end credit you should do for Credit Score. And there was just like literally too many and you wanted to do them all. So that's how this was born. Yeah,
so we decided to do them all. Bob's Burgers saved us in quarantine. Like we were talking about it, it's the glue in our love here, but it also it's been heavy. There's been like nonstop heavy news throughout this entire situation, and it's been rough. And Skylar and I have ended every single one of our days pretty much since quarantine started with an episode to 3 episodes of Bob's Burgers. We just started watching it in March, as she said, and we've sadly finished all of them a few nights ago. We watched the last one, so we're really excited for the premiere. But when you start a new show and there's 10 seasons, you're like, this is going to last my lifetime. Yeah, we thought we'd never get through them, and it happened. Yeah, and we're heartbroken. But we became, I wouldn't say instantly obsessed, which we'll talk about as far as episodes go on and how it took us a little bit to become obsessed with the show. But within a few episodes, we were in love with the show and the characters to a point where we have purchased many Bob's Burgers related, what would you call them?
Paraphernalia?
Yeah, that's the exact word I was looking for. That's why I'm glad you're here.
Right.
We finish each other's sentences. We're in love, folks. Well, we're both wearing socks.
Yeah, we're basically like a walking commercial for capitalism.
Yes. But for Bob's, we're willing
But for
to.
Bob's, yeah.
Whose face do you have on your socks right now?
I have Jean this afternoon because I am fueled by chocolate chip cookies and Pellegrino. So I thought it was...
And cheese.
And cheese.
And charcuterie.
Yeah, charcuterie is basically like one of my 3 main food groups. So especially that midnight charcuterie.
And I've got Tina on because we've got socks of the whole family, and I grabbed Tina because she was at the top of the bunch at the time, but also because I feel like she has the same level of anxiety as me.
Yeah. And
thanks for the support.
Well, it's true. Not that I don't have my fair share of anxiety, but I also feel like you need to share your theory for Tina. I feel like subconsciously you chose those because you feel like Tina isn't chosen a lot.
That she's not like the number one pick as far as favorite family member goes?
Yes.
Well, here's my theory about Tina. Tina, I think, is the immediate first pick.
As far as like fan favorite, or
or like as far as like when you first watching the show, like, oh, I love Tina.
Yeah, because we all are drowning in anxiety right now.
Yeah, but I think as the show progressed and the more we watched it, all the other characters kind of started kind of pulling ahead. Maybe Louise is kind of like an immediate fan pick too.
I think she's 100% a fan pick, and when I posted about what TV shows we were watching on my Instagram, a couple people DM me and ask me who are my favorites. And she was a pick for all of them. But no, I'm talking more about your theory on the relationship between her and her parents. Oh,
I see what you're saying. So who's the favorite pick from the parents?
Yeah, you came to me the other day and you were kind of upset because you said, you know what? Who was it? Louise has this really strong bond with her father.
Yes.
And Jean has this very intense bond with his mother. And you were worried about Tina.
Yeah, I am a little bit worried about it because she does have her moments with each of the parents, but I feel like both of the parents, go for Jean or Louise, and then occasionally Tina comes into the mix. It might be why she has the most anxiety. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's an oldest child thing. They think she's fine. She's taken care of. She doesn't need to be babied anymore.
Yeah. She's going to have a lot to talk about in therapy.
So as we're kind of finding how this show is going to go, we've got a few little fun segments.
Yeah, let's dive in. And we also want to say, we also started this because we just need some brightness to our days. So we're going to try and keep the episodes shorter and just packed with fun Bob stuff so that, you can do it on your walk around the block or whatever and just have a little reprieve from the news for the day.
Yeah, we want it to bring you as much joy as Bob's has brought us. Yeah. Together we are finishing each other's sentences again. So lovely. So one of the segments we're going to have on this show is going to be called Bob Pun or Max Pun. And as fans of the show know, first of all, it's a very pun-heavy show, which is probably why I fell in love with it.
Yes, because Max is very pun-heavy, and it's probably why I fell in love with you a little bit.
Really? Puns?
Like Max and I started our relationship just like banter over IM. We worked at the same company, but he... would you describe yourself as shy? I mean, it came off as cool dude. Yeah, so you're a little bit shy.
Well, that's why we were talking over IM mostly.
Yeah, so we would kind of lock eyes in the kitchen and then walk away with our coffee. And then we would spend the whole day chatting on IM. And you were so witty and just full of puns. And that is a language I could speak.
Wow, I didn't realize that the puns were what won you over.
Yes.
Wow, you hear that, gentlemen, ladies? If you want to win the heart of your crush, come up with a pun.
Get punny with it.
Yeah. Basically, puns are, I'd say they're the ultimate dad joke, which is why Bob is responsible for writing the burger puns every single day, technically on the burger of the day.
Yes, and if you're wondering if Max bought me the book that has all the joke burger recipes in it, he did.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry about it.
We didn't list everything we've purchased so far. We probably should do that real quick. Along with that recipe book that I bought you, we've got these socks. We've got little figurines by Kid Robot that we're going to make into our...
Halloween fall decor.
Yeah, it's going to be like a
nativity scene for Halloween?
Exactly.
Okay. And I kind of want to make us a Christmas nativity scene through the little figures too, but I'm not sure how to do that. My crafting only goes so far.
We'll post pictures of all this on all of our socials, which will drop at the end of this episode, and hopefully you'll start following us and coming along for this ride. We also got this artwork that you'll see if you see the artwork for our podcast for this show. We had someone custom draw us as Bob's characters, and that's hanging up in our home.
I just had this like really profound feminist quandary as you were talking.
Tell me.
I just had to burp just now.
Uh-huh.
But like I'm a lady and I can't do that on mic. And then I was thinking about how Gary just lets him rip. And I was just like, see, this is what's wrong with America.
What would one of the Bob's Burgers characters do?
I mean, Jean's going to go for it.
Jean's going to go for it. I think Linda would go for it and laugh a little bit herself.
She would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Tina do it, and I think Louise would proudly do it.
Yeah. The moment has passed.
Okay. I'm just saying if you want to burp moving forward, you can burp moving forward. I'm guessing most of these Bob's Burgers Bob's Burgers listeners are used to it.
Okay. What else? I got my I love you like Tina loves butts
Right,
mug.
We've also got a Tina making her noise mug.
2 of those.
2 of those. What else do we have?
Oh, my apron.
Oh, we have a Bob's Burger kitchen apron that you cook in every night.
Yes.
And right over your head, I have a little Funko Pop figure of Gene in his burger suit with his little megaphone. And that's about it, I think, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, for now.
For now, yeah.
By the time this podcast is done, we're going to be, everything in our home is going to be, I can't wait for the Bob's Burger couch. No. I can't wait till we dye Biscuit's hair, Bob's Burgers, diner colors.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe we'll shave a little bald spot in Biscuit's hair like Bob.
You know what we should do? Because we don't have, bring our 2 passions together. We should do Bob scented candles.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
What would some of the
Tina's could smell like anxiety and like
I was going to say
Jim
butts,
Musk.
and I was like, nope. That's not a good candle.
That'd be a good gag gift.
Yeah.
It could smell like after gym.
Yeah, like a boys' locker room.
Yeah. Fries. Who doesn't want a fry candle?
Obviously
we could
burgers.
do a Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Gail's apartment.
Oh my God.
Like cat litter.
It's like Bertie Bott's beans, but for Bob's.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay,
we're going to be rich.
Let's add it to the list.
Cool. I know nothing about making scented candles, and we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into these puns because I am excited for them. So,
okay, wait. Did we explain the segment?
Yes. So Bob creates these puns for the burgers. I'm going to quiz Skylar every week real quickly on, I'm going to drop some burger names, and she's going to decide if they were an actual pun from the show that Bob made up or if I made them up. So it's called Bob Pun or Max Pun. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
The first burger name is National Pastime. THYME. Time.
Okay. I'm going to say that is a Bob's Burger.
You are correct.
I knew it.
The second burger is the Lord of the Onion Rings burger.
Max.
Come on. What? You don't think that would happen on the show? You're right, but you don't think that would happen on the show?
I think it would. They often do movies as their titles, but that one was just a little better than Bob's, I have to say. So I knew it was you.
Occasionally there's some really... Okay, so I have to try and make them worse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Full disclosure, I'm dyslexic, so I have to have Max kind of pause the burger board sometimes because I'm like, what does that say? And a lot of the times they're pun adjacent, I want to say.
Yeah. Sometimes they're tough, yeah.
But weren't we reading in the Bob's Burger cookbook, they were kind of talking about the evolution of the burger board and how they're not supposed to be really great puns. They're supposed to be Bob's puns.
Right, from the mind of Bob.
Exactly. He's waking up. He has to do one of these every single freaking day. It's normally tied to something that's going on in his life. So if they were too good, it wouldn't be appropriate for the character.
And wasn't there an episode where he couldn't think of one?
Yes.
Yeah. We'll have to figure out which one that is as we go through these.
Yeah, that was more recent. That was
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got 2 more for you.
All right, let's go.
The Fleetwood Mac and Cheeseburger.
Max.
God.
It's too good. It's too good.
It's too easy. Parma Chameleon Burger.
Bob.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow, you went 4 for 4. I'm going to make these more difficult moving forward.
Those were all good, though. I kind of want to make recipes off of these.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Ooh,
Can we do it off the ones that I come up with?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I would love a Fleetwood Mac and Cheeseburger.
I love it. We'll get on it.
So we want to get into these end credits. For this first episode, we're doing episodes 1 and 2 from season 1. Skylar's going to tell us a little bit about those episodes.
Yes, for some context. So the credits get better and better and better. Like they become their own little TV episodes in like the later seasons. So right now we're doing 1 and 2 because the credits are exactly the same. And then I think next week we start to see some music changes. So we're pairing episodes together now, but eventually we'll go episode by episode because they are just like filled with Easter eggs and hilarity. All right, so let's jump into episode 1. Human Flesh is the title of the pilot. And Hulu's description is very riveting. Bob's Burgers opens for business.
Wow. You could, I guess you could say that for any episode. No, I guess it's already opened.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I decided to flesh it out
a
little bit.
Look at who's the pun master now.
I learned from the best. All right, so episode 1. It's the grand opening of Bob's Burgers, but things don't go as planned when Hugo, the health inspector, tries to shut Bob's down after believing Louise's rumor that Bob's uses human flesh in his burgers. It's also Linda and Bob's anniversary, which of course Bob forgot.
Of course, Bob.
Of course.
Of course. So these first 2 episodes, which we haven't gone to the second one yet, but they were written by Lauren Bouchard, and I think his last name it's Jim Dottorive. They both have like French names, I think. But Lauren Bouchard created the show. They wrote these first 2 episodes, and I don't know how many they write throughout the series.
Interesting. We'll have to track that.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll pay attention to those. And this first one was directed by Anthony Chun.
And also, since we're talking about the pilot, Max sent me the demo that's on YouTube that the pilot was sold off of. And the pilot, the narratives are pretty similar. Mm-hmm. So that's why I feel like there's such a discrepancy in the pilot and then the episodes moving forward. I feel like so much growth in the writer's room or just this concept happened between the plot of the demo, selling the show, and then producing the pilot.
Yeah.
Okay, so episode 2 is called Crawl Space.
Oh, I just want to say something about episode 1 real quick, too.
Yeah.
That little fact that I found that has to do with human flesh.
Oh, okay.
You'll understand in a second. So apparently in the original concept, the Belchers were cannibals. But I think what I read is that Fox execs convinced them not to do that for the show, which is, for sometimes executives get this wrong. If they were responsible for that, it's probably a good move.
Yeah.
You know?
That's interesting.
I think it was starting off to, something we didn't talk about was that what we love about it is that there's so much heart in the show.
Yes.
And I think it started off more mean. I don't know about mean, but like darker.
I think mean is Louise is intense without any heart. Linda is really naggy, which is like not that enjoyable. And Bob is like a curmudgeon. It's just, there's not like, the reason I love this show is it feels like a weighted blanket at night. It's just like warm and fuzzy, and you want to be part of that family. And you get to be part of that family for 30 minutes every night. And even I think we're rewatching now. We're like 5 episodes in. Louise hasn't got her heart yet. Everybody, I think, and this is interesting because I love watching when shows get the chance to actually evolve, how do they get better? How do they hit that that peak gel? And so if you look at, I was just thinking of a bunch of different pilots and how the shows evolved. If you look at Gilmore Girls, The Office, and this show, I think what they have in common between the pilot and moving forward is every character gets more heart.
I'd even say the same about Schitt's Creek. They all start kind of...
But that's different because they're that's the thing. They're horrible people.
Right.
But with Michael, in The Office, the thing to me is he's a shitty boss, but he wants to find love. And he wants to have a house full of children, and he wants to be liked. To me, that's who Michael is. Mm-hmm. And all of his badness comes from ignorance. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I just wanted to jump back to what you're saying about the cannibalism. It's interesting then that the pilot, the whole theme is cannibalism.
Yeah.
They did not want to let that go.
Yeah. I wonder if the original script had that they actually were using human flesh or something, and it went from there.
I really like that decision. I think, do you think whenever you're creating an adult cartoon that you feel like it has to be dark and raunchy and weird?
I think coming off a lot of the stuff that had been out for years before Bob's came out, Simpsons had heart but kind of crossed the line a lot. But then Family Guy is just full dark. South Park is just dark and,
right.
Offensive to everyone and just going for below the belt shots left and right.
Yeah.
But I think this one, Jim Dotterive or whatever his name is, it was one of the writers and producers, I think, on King of the Hill, which has some heart as well, which has it. So I think that kind of blended together.
That's great.
Yeah.
Because not that this is a gender thing at all, but those shows like South Park and so it just doesn't interest me at all. So I think that's something that I think it's cool. Again, The Office, when you can find something that crosses over so many different demos. I think it really gets to the heartstrings, Max.
That's what's special about
Do
this
I sound
one.
like a network exec?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now tell me that I can't have cannibals in my scripts.
I think it's too relatable,
Yeah.
You haven't seen episodes?
No.
That's what I wanted
seen parts
to say.
Of it, but
So when you just told me that at first the show is about cannibals, it reminded me of something that would have been pitched in the show episodes. It's a great TV show. You guys should watch it, especially if you love TV as much as we do. All right, so let's jump into the second episode. It's called Crawl Space. Bob is annoyed when he finds out that Linda's parents are coming for a visit and wants nothing to do with it. Linda sets to work cleaning the house from top to bottom, but when a leak springs up in the roof, she asks Bob's help in fixing it. Unfortunately, I would edit it to say fortunately, for Bob, he gets stuck in the wall, leaving Linda and the children to entertain their guest and run the restaurant. A little runners.
Oh, she just flipped her notes over. I'm very excited.
Some runners for the kids. We have a sexy zombie dream from Tina, which I think is the moment I fall in love. Everybody hears the grandparents having sex. So we have Tina's zombie sex dream. And we have Jean, of course, samples the elderly sex scene and has a not safe for work or school sampling of it in his history project. And then Louise, tells everyone that her father has died and is now haunting the restaurant and is bringing children in for seances.
Those are great runners all around in this episode. You know what? The how much better the second episode gets after the first one?
Leap.
Yeah.
A huge leap.
Yeah. And then as it goes on, it gets even better. But yeah. And I assume because the second episode was written after kind of the show was sold.
Yeah.
Because the first one was kind of based on that little pilot they did on. By the way, go watch that pilot on YouTube because it's really weird to see the characters.
I think if you do search Bob's Burgers demo.
Yeah, or like original episode or something like that. It's weird because like Tina is a boy.
It's so weird.
There's some differences. They're all very
the
crudely
shirt. Tell
drawn.
him about the shirt.
Bob just wears his apron without a shirt underneath. He's just like this bare chest harried guy. It's awful. So I'm glad they put a shirt on him.
Maybe that plays into the cannibal a little bit more.
Yeah, it could. But I think there was just like a big leap into just how much better the second episode was.
And I want to track, because we're watching it now, I kind of want to track when I have that first like heart oozy melty moment for Louise. Because to me that makes all her funny shit 10 times more funny.
Yeah, because we were agreeing that like we know that people like Louise a lot from the start. She's so mischievous, but we were not that into Louise until she started to get a little more heart, and she really grew on us. Yeah,
and I like how every storyline, the kids come together. It's not, if they were all pieces of shit and mean to each other, I think it'd be hard to have plot where they're all interacting. And a lot of time, especially Louise, she's like showing up for her brothers and sisters, you know? So
we're going to look, we can talk forever about Bob's, which is why we have this podcast, and we'll continue to. I'm going to save some of what I want to talk about, and we should get into these end credits and get this over with. And well, not get it over with, but I just mean,
I can think of some other things you say that for.
What are you talking about?
Nothing. Let's edit that out.
Okay. I feel like I turned into Linda there. Nothing when she starts mumbling.
Remember that episode where she's like, they're getting married.
They're getting married.
Bob's like, no, that's not what. Yeah.
No, they're not.
Linda. Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Yeah. He's a boyfriend.
Okay,
so like we said, the credits don't change too much. So these first two episodes, it's a generic end credit sequence that we'll become super familiar with as you're watching the show. It uses the opening theme music, which is
delightful,
which I found out this week as I was doing my, I say research, but it's not research when you just like look stuff up on the internet. So when I was doing, what's that called? What would we call that?
Procrastinating.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was, except that it was actually for this. So I think it's still procrastinating.
Yeah.
Keeping me from doing more important things.
Yeah, I've asked you to clean the sink like for 4 weeks now.
Yeah, but look, I got to look up these Bob's facts, honey.
That sounds so weird.
I know. I never call you honey.
No.
That was strictly for the audience.
Yeah.
So it uses the opening theme music, which this week I found out Lauren Bouchard played himself on the ukulele.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. 10 points for Lauren.
And I noticed in these first few episodes, they use that opening theme music a lot through like scene transitions too for a while. And it feels kind of awkward a lot of the time. I think they end up changing that eventually. So what we see in these, well, let's just go through them a little bit.
Let's do it.
Okay. We'll just play the very end of the last couple lines of the Human Flesh episode, and then it'll go into the credits.
Also, because we're not going over the beginning credits, the opening credits, I have to tell y'all that the keyboard, the bump bark, isn't there.
Oh, that's right.
Wow.
In the opening credits, there are some changes eventually, and like you said, yeah, there's a part where Jean pushes the keyboard and does like a bark noise, and then Louise does what? Like a She goes like,
with her hands.
She throws her hands out. Goes like, so it goes like, "Arf, ah."
Oh, it's the opposite. Okay. Yeah, but it feels so empty without it.
It's very sad. Jean doesn't bounce up and down like he does a little bit later on.
The tempo is much slower, so it's like it's wild. How much it changes when they speed up the tempo and add just like those little changes.
The thing was that with the slower version, it gave you time to read the two big puns.
I can't do it.
But I can't do it. Now with the faster one, you was like, wait, what did it say, Max? What was that supposed to be? What was the pun?
I ask you every time. So not only are you trying to read them, I'm like, what did it say? At the same time.
All right, so let's hear the end of this episode and see how the credits start off.
Ah, sick!
Mom's really handsy.
You're a couple of sluts!
I think it's nice.
Hey! Get this thing moving! I'm getting scarred for life up here!
Okay. Let's talk about what we see on the screen the minute those credits start. Oh, Skylar,
Yes.
you have something else to say.
Oh, I was just going to dive in and say, just for some context, they're at the wharf on the Ferris wheel sitting above their parents. And another plot point in this episode is that not only was Hugo engaged to Linda at one point, but
Hugo, the health inspector.
Hugo, the health inspector, he was a much better kisser than Bob. So this has been a thorn in Bob's side. So they're having a romantic moment on the Ferris wheel, and that...
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Bob. I told you, bad impressions will be happening. So that's what the kids are going, ooh, gross about.
And when it cuts to when we start hearing the theme again and it cuts to the end credits, this is what we're going to pretty much see for a while now, with a few changes to it. But let's lay out the scene. Yeah.
So we have really like minimalist white background and black sketching of the kitchen.
Yeah, we're standing inside the kitchen with 3 of the characters.
In color.
And the characters are in color, yes. And we're looking from behind them. So their behinds are to us.
Yes. And Tina and Louise are doing some prep work, and Bob is at the grill. And I have to say that Louise is on her tippy toes, which I find so endearing.
It's so cute.
It's so cute.
It's so cute. And occasionally Bob gives his butt a little scratch.
Yep.
And we start seeing the names of the main characters. So most of the screen, I'd say about a little more than half of the screen is white with the credits.
Yeah.
And then this little scene that we just described is, the rest of the screen.
Yeah.
So we start seeing all the lead voices, like, we'll talk about them throughout this show, but like H. John Benjamin is Bob, Dan Mintz is Tina, Kristen Schaal is Louise. We've been talking about Kristen Schaal a lot because before I started watching this, I was so familiar with her in other things.
And her voice.
And her voice is so unique.
Yeah.
That I'd hear her voice and I'd immediately...
It's her.
It's her. But now we just watched Bill and Ted Face the Music, which she's in. And hearing her voice, it's like hearing Louise come out of a human. It's weird.
Which is rare, because I think normally it's the other way around. Like, you can only see the actor in a role, but to see like a character transferred to another movie is weird.
It was so weird. And who else? So we forgot Linda, who is John Roberts. So those are did I get everyone? Oh, and Eugene Merman, who's Gene. That's the family, the main family. So those are the Belchers. Those are the voice actors for the Belchers.
Right.
And that's who we see first in these credits.
And who is Jocelyn? Max has this soft spot for Jocelyn that I find very endearing.
We've got a while
His arm looks like a burrito.
We've got a while until the like regular students at the school start making appearances. But once Jocelyn, whichever episode Jocelyn appears in, I will be going off about my love for Jocelyn.
Fangirling like hardcore.
Oh, I love Jocelyn so much for some reason.
I love it.
She's so funny. Also voiced by John Roberts, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Because it sounds very much like Linda.
Yes. You say that every single time she has a line.
I think I say, oh my God, his arm looks like a burrito. That kid's arm looks like a burrito, and that it's the same voice as Linda to you every single time. It's like...
Every time. It's like, what do I say every time to you? Oh, when we're cooking in the kitchen, I go... I get frustrated every night, and I go, this kitchen is so big.
We have a small kitchen.
And I don't mean to say it every night. But
okay, let's play a little bit more and see what happens, because we are missing some of the characters, some family members here.
Butt scratch.
Butt scratch.
Louise brings the prepped plate over to Bob.
Yep, and she looks at him adoringly. Adorable. Yes. Bob flips a burger onto the plate. And as far as credits go, we start seeing like a lot of the staff writers who will start seeing their names appear in the scripts moving forward. Some of them I noticed in these end credits are responsible for some of our favorite episodes. We'll talk about this as we get to those episodes.
Cool. All right.
Okay, what happened there?
Linda appears in the... What is that called?
Just the window.
The window? Okay.
Just the prep window.
We both...
worked as servers.
Waiter, yeah.
And it was a dark time in both of our lives.
It was. So, one time, the counter like where you pick up the food.
Did you have to stand on your tippy toes?
I did.
Oh, no.
I know you thought that was a joke, but you're like hitting me deeply in my soul. So I'm a little shy, and
No.
I worked at
Yeah.
I worked at an Italian restaurant, and it was in Texas, so of course people were like, "Can I have some butter?" Even though it was an Italian restaurant. So I went over and I was trying to get the chef's attention, but the counter was too high. So I was standing on my tippy toes, my chin just resting on the window. And I said, "Excuse me, sir, can I please have some butter?" And my manager saw the whole interaction. So
Why did you talk like Snow White back then?
because I wanted to be polite. I didn't want to be like, "Yo, get me some butter." I was trying to like win the chefs over, because you got to be on the chef's side
Totally.
when you want like need substitutions or sides or whatever.
Yeah, they don't care about
That
what's
wasn't
going
the
on.
best method. Anyway, so my manager saw. So anytime she was over by the counter and she saw me looking at her, she'd be like on her tippy toes, like, "Excuse me, sir, can I have some butter?" All right. So we see Linda pick up the food through the window.
Yeah, she makes an appearance kind of sort of as Louise is getting the burger from Bob, I think, and then she puts it up in the window, and Linda gets it to kind of deliver it. And on the bottom, the far right, all the way across the screen.
Stage left.
Yeah, there you go. And Gene would love that.
Yes.
He's a big theater boy, as we'll come to learn. All the way on the other side of the credits, he's the only one making an appearance in that area of the screen. Starts walking from stage left across the screen in his burger suit. And let's just watch. Let's see how far he gets.
Yeah.
So he gets pretty much, he walks all the way past Bob, past Louise, and it kind of closes out when he's in between Tina and Louise.
The quarter mark.
Yes, yeah. And he has like a weird, he's like tiptoeing almost. It's so, I think it's so funny.
Really?
He's not tiptoeing, but he is kind of like walking funny.
He's adorable.
I love Gene.
I love him.
I love Gene.
He has a great moment in, I think, like episode 3 or 4 in the credits.
Yeah.
That I'm
That's
excited
when
for.
it starts picking up. And
Yeah.
also he starts in these earlier ones, he walks all the way across the screen, and I think at a certain point he just kind of like pops up from where we said, like where the rest of the family is.
That's so funny. Can you imagine like these conversations?
Yeah, like what?
Like, you know, TV production seems so magical, but you know that they're sitting over $20 salads being like, "Do you think he should start from like the middle of the credits?"
Yeah.
And it's like a 2-hour conversation.
Yeah, I hope that's what's going on for something as minor as that. Okay, that's it. So because this is a credit score spinoff, obviously we have to score this particular end credit sequence.
Yeah.
So Skylar and I came up with a scoring system. You don't remember.
No.
She's looking at me terrified, like I'm going to make her say what it is now.
I remember liking it.
Okay, so we are going to do it on a scale of 1 to 10 H's at the end of Tina's
Yeah, love it.
So on a scale of 1 to 10 H's at the end of Tina's what would you give this episode 1 and 2 end credit sequence?
Okay, question. Do I rate it in the context of knowing how good the credits get, or if I just fell onto earth and watched this episode?
That's a good question, because yes, you know that the credits get a lot better at this point. Mm-hmm. Let's do for the sake of, let's do 1, you're an alien who just got dropped onto Earth and you were forced to watch Bob's Burgers for some reason.
I mean, great.
Yeah. I mean, if they landed in our house, we'd be like, "Come, this is what we do. This is what humans do. We watch Bob's Burgers. Hey,
Do you like my socks?
Look at our socks. Oh, I'll pet my dog." Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's looking at me, by the way. He wants to. Oh, he just fell asleep.
He just fell asleep.
He's not interested anymore. So let's do 1 alien. To be fair.
Okay, I'm gonna do like alien with like pop culture knowledge.
Okay.
Just because if they've never seen TV, I'd give it a bajillion.
They'd be like amazed.
Yeah, they'd
what
be
was
amazed.
this? I just witnessed. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would give it, I'm going to say 6 H's.
If you were a pop culture
Informed,
educated,
yes.
informed alien.
Yes.
Okay. And just as far as you, who knows that the credits get better.
Oh, I'll give it a 5.
Yeah, I think as far as that goes, I'm going to meet you at 5 H's for the knowing, and for my pop culture informed alien, I would give it a 6.5, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Logical, well-informed decision making.
Yeah. Look, it made me stick around and watch the end credits. Like I wanted to see what was happening because there was something going on in the end credits. So I think that's good.
Yeah.
The first time I watched the
show.
show.
And it catches your eye. And I always love, it doesn't have that like storytelling element yet that it definitely will have. But I also love, I think honestly, one of the reasons this show is so lovable is that you kind of do just want to hang out in the kitchen with them. And that's exactly what they're doing.
So I gave it a 6.5. You gave it a 5.
Oh, Gary's not here to do the math.
Gary usually does the math. So we gave it 5.75 H's at the end of Tina's
for the
first and second credit for us as human beings. We screwed ourselves over by having these alien versions.
There's so many numbers.
We're never going to do that again. But for this, the first and second end credit sequence to Bob's Burgers, episodes 1 and 2. And that's
fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. This was fun, and we're looking forward to doing a whole lot more. Obviously, we'd like to get through every single episode, so we invite you to come follow us on all of our socials. We've all across the board, like on Instagram, Twitter, we're Bob's Credits, just one word.
Oh, you snag those handles?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And we also started a Patreon because we want to be able to get through all of these episodes, every single one, and we just could use the support because podcasting actually takes a lot of work.
You've thrown some money into the equipment and time.
So we want to keep doing it. And it's just like, if you can become a patron and if you enjoy the podcast and if you're going to plan to stick around, we're going to have all kinds of like bonuses down the road. And we're thinking about like bonus episodes, and some like fun exclusive merchandise and stuff like that. So Bob's Credits all across the board, Bob's Credits on Patreon, but follow us.
And with Patreon, or however you say it, we're not asking for a lot, like $1, $3 a month.
I think our lowest one is like $3, but that's
we're cheap people.
We understand tough times. We're not saying like you have to do this, but just if you enjoy the podcast, you want to support us, we'll give you shout outs in future episodes, stuff like that. You'll see when you're on Patreon.
And if not, a review would be awesome.
Review would be lovely. Please review because that helps us out a lot getting started here. And we'll see you guys for the next episode, episodes 3 and 4. I don't know the titles because we didn't look them up. Do you know them?
I don't, but I know it's going to get saucy.
Okay. Was that a hint that there's sauce in an episode?
Let's just make it work.
Okay. Okay. We'll see you guys next time.
Stay saucy.